It's long and it sounds important. Apparently, if you put executive vice president in front of anybody's name, they feel important.
Executive?
It's a meaningless title, but it helps insecure people feel better about themselves.
Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on those notifications. And once you're done, leave a comment down below and I just might end up responding. Isn't it funny how life can go sometimes? One minute you're at the bottom of the food chain wrestling for Vince McMahon, doing a parody of your brothers' long-term gimmick, and essentially, you're kooky. The next minute, you're the leading founder of the first American wrestling promotion to look like it actually has a shot of one day maybe taking a little hit towards Vince McMahon's pro wrestling empire, if it kinda hasn't already. Okay, maybe this was more like 3 years ago, and maybe the people here didn't exactly leave WWE with AEW in mind, as that literally couldn't have happened 10 times yet, but you get the idea. I'm D Wicked, and here's 10 former WWE stars that are currently signed to an AEW contract. Number 10, Cody and Brandy Rhodes, the obvious one. It's Cody Rhodes. It's still kind of surreal that the dude who played Stardust at WrestleMania just under 40 months ago is now ushering us into the new wave of professional wrestling goodness, and God good freaking damn, I couldn't be happier about it. As someone who got back into the product late 2015, I'll be honest, I genuinely couldn't tell if I liked professional wrestling or not for a good while, or if I just cared about who the champion was because I watched it when I was a kid. While NXT TakeOver Dallas was the pay-per-view to confirm it, AEW's Double or Nothing 100,000% re-sparked something in my body. Thank you, Cody. And hey, here's to supporting wives and them dropping WWE contracts to join their husbands along for the adventure. No disrespect towards Renee Young was intended during the writing or delivering of that line. Number 9, the Young Bucks. Let's make a perfect 180, shall we? From one of the biggest and most notable ex-WWE names to ones that some people are probably scratching their head at right now. Believe it or not, yeah, the Young Bucks appeared in both TNA and WWE, interestingly enough, before becoming the international sensation the indies would allow them to become. Back in 2008, Matt Jackson would appear on SmackDown to job out to Chuck Palumbo. Wait, Chuck Palumbo was still signed in 2008. What the fuck? Later that year, he'd appear in an exhibition last man standing match against the goddamn Big Show, where he'd lose via table spot. What am I reading? 11 days later, the brothers were dressed up as Triple H and Shawn Michaels on ECW and beaten up by The Miz and John Morrison. It sounds like I made all this shit up. This is actually what they did in WWE. I am fascinated at how bizarre all of this is.
I don't know what Chuck is trying to prove here by not ending this match. Oh, there's the full throttle.
Number 8, Shawn Spears, also known as Ty Dillinger, being announced shortly before the Casino Battle Royal, which, by the way, his announcement was sick as hell. They showed off a dealer's table with cards and all that jazz since, you know, casinos, before revealing the card to be a 10. Enter Shawn Spears. I mean, goddamn, a good look, a good connection with the crowd, and you're having a good time. That is a professional wrestler's wet trio dream.
It's a perfect 10 in the 10 position. Ty Dillinger is in the Royal Rumble match.
Number 7, Pac. Now, I'm compelled to include Pac into the listing, as all things considered, he's probably gonna end up in All Elite Wrestling still. There's just been some caveats and hurdles to overcome over the last few weeks. Feel free to discount him, but as long as the official AEW roster keeps telling me that Pac, bastard, is all in, Pac's all in on this list too. The former Neville really showed us what was to come with that Rich Swann heel turn, because after it was underutilized in WWE, it went full circle and became so overutilized and fantastic on the indies that it sort of led to him not showing up at Double or Nothing. Basically, AEW's wins and losses are gonna matter, like, a lot, and Pac is currently the undefeated Dragon Gate champion, and there's some big issues with him taking losses in another promotion at the moment. Surely in the future, when he's dropped that title and is on a bit of a cool down, it'll get to work itself out, but for right now, Pac unfortunately will not be showing up anytime soon.
Pac using the official to get himself to his feet.
A low blow by Pac, come on! What was that? What was that from the bastard?
Number 6, Trent Beretta. Who the hell else actually remembers Trent Beretta? As someone who started really watching as a kid in like 2011, I just barely remember Zack Ryder mentioning the whole "where's Trent Beretta" thing, and that's it. I never actually knew who Trent Beretta was. I just knew he was missing. That's fantastic. I must have stumbled across WWE's YouTube page or something and seen that, which is kind of crazy to me, but holy shit. Seriously, what did this guy ever do? He was within WWE or NXT from 2009 to 2013, and yeah, man, I've been doing Watch WWE for almost exactly 3 years now, and I have never talked about Trent Beretta before. No, that's wrong. He was one half of the Dude Busters. He was on the list of people that you forgot were in WWE. That just came to me. That is how forgettable he is. I almost forgot that he was on the forgettable list. What?
Beretta flying in. Oh no. Oh no, staggered. Oh my goodness.
Number 5, Billy Gunn. Very kind of WWE to allow Billy Gunn to appear at DX's Hall of Fame induction despite his signing with the, and I quote, piss ant company, as Triple H so elegantly put it. Oh, Trips, I really hope you watched that sledgehammer to the throne. Billy Gunn, also known as The Rock's most famous victim.
Bob, but my name's Billy. It doesn't matter what your name is.
Ah, well, his push may have died, he might have never achieved higher success, and he probably went down as the most forgettable DX member not to be Rick Rude or have a vagina. At least he'll always have the fact that he jumped over to AEW first if one day they find themselves atop the mountain, as now he's providing all the same teaching skills he applied to Tough Enough to the AEW locker room, and you know what? He was actually pretty goddamn good in that role. No, I'm not gonna lie.
Well, hold on. Let's be honest. He will buy that pissant company just to fire you again.
Number 4, Jim Ross / Earl Hebner. While both men have proved that in the past they're not like 100% loyal to WWE, Ross was in WCW, Hebner was in TNA, WWE is by far the company that they're most synonymous with. Given Dusty Rhodes' close relationship with both men, however, and specifically Ross's love for pro wrestling, this shouldn't be too much of a surprise. I don't really know much about Hebner besides his relationship with Bret Hart and that he pulled off the original Twin Magic on the goddamn Hulkster, no less, but Ross is a big personality in the business. So knowing more about him and his insight is actually quite interesting. It's actually pretty damn noteworthy that both of these men are now a part of AEW, as Jim Ross and Earl Hebner, both non-wrestlers, are probably the most famous or at least recognizable people in each of their respective fields. Charles Robinson may give Hebner a run for his money, but Ross is undeniably the commentary king in pro wrestling, and the company will only gain more wisdom with his inclusion. Also, Double or Nothing's commentary killed once he showed up, and it's always nice seeing Earl Hebner, especially in that Cody match. That was cool. Speaking of that Cody match, number 3, Dustin Rhodes. Poor Luke Harper, man. I feel like I've started 3 or 4 different entries over the last month just saying poor Luke Harper, but poor Luke Harper, man. He really should have had a talk with Goldust before taking to Twitter. While both men wanted out of the company, Harper's big idea was to publicly ask for his release, and that's the wrong move since Vince McMahon, as he continues to out 4D chess his entire roster and adds more months to Harper's contract. Uh-oh, SpaghettiOs. Cody's older brother, on the other hand, well, goddamn, he was at least 3 plays ahead of Vince, as he didn't only keep himself totally quiet, but he outright replied to someone on Twitter basically saying he's perfectly happy with WWE. He 100% could have been, he's just telling the truth, and then also still left to support his brother, but damn, Dustin, that was a play and you fucking knew it, dude. Thank you. Thank you for supporting your brother. And thank you even more for that incredible fucking Double or Nothing match, man. By far the best match I've seen of his after so many years of WWE's underutilization. Proof that emotion can mean more than wrestling ability sometimes. Absolutely deserved 5 stars. Number 2, Chris Jericho. Notice as the list has continued, it's no longer wrestlers who happened to leave, but specifically ones that left for AEW. And now I'd say we're at the point of wrestlers who aren't just leaving, but making statements. Chris Jericho made a very clear statement when it came out that he signed with All Elite Wrestling. This is going to be a big deal. Seriously, think about it. Before Jericho, AEW was still a fascinating concept, but we had no idea where it was going to go. Chris's signing was the first and still the biggest AEW's managed, as he's genuinely a fucking huge name still. It's Chris Jericho, dude. He's just shy of being a 30-year vet. He's had tenure in WCW. He was huge in Japan. He main evented WrestleMania. He beat Austin and The Rock in the same night. He's a multi-world champion, multi-main eventer. He is Y2J. He really deserved that thank you, man, because people know the dude, and for him to openly walk away from Vince McMahon in the manner that he did, oh man, it'd leave me chills if it wasn't for the number one.
I know what I'm going to be doing. I know where I'll be. And that's great. I can do it for the rest of my career. I don't want that. I want to take a chance. I want to make a difference.
But of course, only one man stands at the top. Number one, John fucking Moxley. Jericho may have been the bigger star, but no one has ever made a bigger statement, not even CM Punk. I know, that's a big thing to say, especially as a big fucking Punk fan myself, but while Punk tore into the company, whatever actually came of it? Either time it happened, don't forget that while the pipe bomb was a worked shoot, that's still 50% shoot, motherfuckers. And in reality, it was more like 90%, as they literally handed him a mic and said, go. Despite this and his bashing later in 2014, WWE remained pretty unfazed overall. There was a little bit of disgruntlement and some CM Punk chants that still kind of happen to this day, but for the most part, unfazed. Fast forward to 2019, the landscape of pro wrestling is a little bit really fucking different. If WWE's recent actions of not allowing their talent to leave, extending developmental contracts from 3 to 5 years, and especially holding talent meetings where Stephanie McMahon is telling people that there'll be nothing anywhere outside WWE and that everything is doing great business-wise is signs of anything, it's that everything is definitely not going great business-wise. Moxley walked out, tore the company an hour-and-a-half long new one, and honestly, he opened the floodgates. Almost immediately after that Talk is Jericho podcast dropped, every wrestler on that roster seems to have a rumor out about reevaluating their current situation and, more importantly, checking to see when their contract runs out. Jericho was a big spark, don't get me wrong, but Moxley was like a fiery explosion a couple feet short of reaching a forest, and in time, that's a wildfire that's gonna spread. I'm kind of proud of that metaphor. And those are 10 former WWE stars who left, quote unquote, for AEW. What are your thoughts? Let us know in the comments down below. After liking the video, subscribing to the channel, and notifications-ing that bell.